Good evening, welcome to Rehab Talk Radio. I'm your host, Kovaj. I'm kicking it with Andrew. And as always, my co-host is absent. My executive co-producer, Des, he's indisposed at the moment. So tonight, all news aside, I do have a reoccurring guest with a little bit of tragedy mixed in with his own little loop of roundabout for the show tonight. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. A man that needs no introduction. Andrew, how are you tonight, buddy?
Good, Chris. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for being on the show. This is ironically our second take. Our first take had been completely... The house was completely hectic earlier. For some reason, on a Thursday night, everything decided to just go wrong. So what we were talking about was we were rewinding to when you first had come back.
Yeah, okay, so... I got here in June of this year, so that's January of 2020 or 2022.
Okay.
And in September, I wasn't really ready to leave. You know, I didn't have like my place lined up. I didn't have the amount of money that I had wanted saved, and I truly wasn't ready. But I ran into some situation. Not placing any blame on anybody, but I had to leave this place, and I just, like I said, wasn't ready. I ended up having to move back in with my mom, and I was working a job that just wasn't fulfilling. You know, I was going...
No, was it through extenuating circumstance that you had to leave? It was through basically politics?
No, it's basically politics. Like, I mean, I feel like if I had pushed it harder, I could have gotten to stay. What they were giving me was like, hey, you messed up and you're not as engaged as you used to be, so you're either going to have to start from the basic level, which is induction phase, and you're gonna have to quit work and redo the whole program, or you can leave. And I had the job and I didn't want to quit, even though I hated it. And so I chose that option because right now my 2-year-old son is with my mom, and she gave me the option to move in with them. Like, that sounded good at the time, but looking back on it, was just not the right decision. I wasn't in the right place in my head.
Right. You had ability to see your kiddo, and you need to kind of provide for him because you're in the position, you had locked it in. You know, it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to just up and quit a job. I completely understand. Or leaving your kiddo and everything. There's responsibilities that incur, so I totally understand that.
Yeah. So it kind of started off slowly. You know, I left here clean too. By the way, like I had relapsed in the rehab program.
And may I ask your DOC? Drug of choice?
Opiates.
Opiates, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually got introduced to them when I was got my wisdom teeth removed when I was younger. So.
I know, so that's kind of like the starting thing of things is that people will get it. They'll get prescribed some sort of opiates by the doctor, and then they'll give them a pretty healthy amount.
Yeah.
And then those will run out, and then
you'll see.
They'll seem to be like like another avenue to go down.
Yeah, that was like my first introduction to it. But I mean, in high school, I kind of did what we all do. I was smoking weed and doing hallucinogens and drinking, and it didn't really become a problem until after I got out of high school. And I didn't really have a purpose. You know, I was kind of just floating around. And I actually got a girlfriend who was outrageously prescribed morphine and all kinds of benzos and ridiculous amounts.
Oh, okay.
If she had taken what she was prescribed, she would have been a zombie.
Oh, so she was under medicating.
Well, she was over medicated by the doctor, but
under medicating her, under self medicating.
Yeah.
Which is, you don't hear that story very often.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally they're overdoing it.
Yeah, well,
as opposed to what they're prescribed, not underdoing it, as opposed to what the doctor recommends.
Yeah, she was kind of using it as like a source of income, or feeding them to me. So.
Okay. So
That's when my disease really took off.
Okay, so that's when it took off, and you were with the girlfriend, and that's the basis of where we started, to where the story begins. Mm-hmm. From there, was it just straight downhill, or was there like a battle with it?
I kind of just skated by for a little bit until when I was like around 25. It became a problem. Like I started losing jobs, and I wasn't able to hold on to relationships, and I was just living up like day-to-day life in motels, and then my mom, I kind of got an intervention, like a lot of us have, and I got sent down to Monterey to go to like a really nice rehab, which was really cool. It was a good experience, you know. I got introduced to AA. It was an amazing rehab. It was like a couple blocks from the beach, and it was like 5-star. I had really good insurance at the time.
Now Monterey, that's like a ritzy kind of part of like California,
Oh, yes.
so it's like upper scale. And then I was gonna ask, how old are you, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
32.
32. Okay, so 25. So this has been 7 years ago.
Yeah, so that's kind of when my sobriety journey started.
Okay.
So I've been trying for 7 years now. The
What-
longest in the 7 years I've gotten is 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months. So that's the record. It seems a lot of the addicts that I've known, they all have that stopping hurdle. Like they make it to this point. Mine is 5 months. Before I came here, I'd never made it past 5 months. So I made it past that 5-month hurdle.
Yeah, you see the pattern a lot.
Yeah, they all make it to that certain point, and then it's what I call the plateau. It's when you've accomplished everything you've got to accomplish, and then it kind of sets into this like drift, and it's just kind of routine, and things get into too much routine, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree?
Yeah, totally. It's happened to me multiple times. So that's like over the last 7 years, I can't count how many times I've been in programs, and then anywhere from 3 to 8 months, like we were saying, that I reached that plateau stage, and like this place that I'm at right now it seems to be giving me the opportunity to work on finding myself and being able to find that like inner happiness, you know, that I didn't have those past times where, like you said, we plateau and we just slip back in old habits.
Unfortunately. So what brought you to this place?
Okay, so what brought me here?
So you're in Monterey. You get out of Monterey.
Yeah, so I get out of Monterey. I'm doing good. I'm living in a SLE. I got about 5 to 6 months, and then things start going south. I start using it at work, and I lose that job, and I'm using it at an SLE, which is just totally rude. Using around people who are trying to be sober, you know. I end up leaving that place and being homeless for a good part of the year. I'd say 6 months down in Monterey, and I totally lost my mind. I was doing a ridiculous amount, and I was just like completely psychotic by the end of that. And I went into a facility down there called CHOMP. And
Is that CHOMP?
City of Monterey, something County Hospital of Monterey Peninsula.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay. So it's a hospital,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, but they have. So there was a psych ward there, and like I was in psychosis so bad it was pretty scary.
Was this auditory, visual, all the above?
Mostly auditory, but there was some visual in it, and even like just like physical hallucinations.
Oh, okay, physical. That's a new one. I'd definitely like
it's
to.
trippy. At the time, I was living in the woods, and I was in such bad psychosis. I was seeing faces in trees, and I thought that there was like some sort of witchcraft chapter after me. And I was running out of the woods, and like there was this like electrical feeling that I got from the bottom of my toes all the way up to my knees, and like it was just a really weird experience. Like my audio, visual, and that hallucination was all intertwined.
So yeah, you were an entire scenario. Like you were living this experience.
Yeah.
Of like. Now, was this from too much of something, not enough of something? Was this natural?
It was not enough sleep and too much amphetamines and withdrawals from heroin. So I was withdrawing from heroin, I was up for too long, and I was using meth IV, so that's where that came from.
I had no idea that the scenario hallucinations could get that horrible, that intense.
I had this whole thing built up in my head, and it was all bad. I don't ever want to feel like that ever again, dude. I feel like I have a PTSD from it sometimes, you know. Like I'll have like I don't know. When I think back on that, I can like flash into my mindset at the time. It's just truly places drug takes us so scary.
Understandably. Yep. So you move on from Monterey, from the hospital in Monterey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after the hospital in Monterey, I hadn't talked to my family in a while, but I called my mom, and I was like, she could hear it in my voice because I was going through that whole situation. And thank God she came down and picked me up, brought me back to Reno, and I got enrolled into a program up here.
And is this where your family resides? Is in Northern Nevada? Or?
Yeah, I was born in Hawaii, and then we moved here in like '97. So I grew up here, went to high school here.
Oh, okay. Okay, I kind of grew up off and on here, went to high school here as well. So you were recommended here basically by your mom, and you were brought here?
Yeah, so I was brought up from Monterey, and then I went to a program. Did really well there. Like you said, I kind of like got all my stuff back, and I plateaued a little bit. I graduated that place, got a little apartment, met my son's mother, and things were going good for about a month, and then it just went downhill after I got out of that program.
And the beast.
Yeah.
So after that, was it a long period of time, the struggle between there and here?
Yes, it's. I'll kind of do a quick. What brings us up to now? So, after getting out of that program and kind of going downhill, my son's mother at the time had a couple warrants, and the cops were looking for her. Northern Nevada Net came and kicked my apartment door down and took her away, and I got a couple charges, but was released quickly, and ended up kind of just doing the addiction thing until she got out. So just floating around, kind of doing the same old thing. When she got out, we reunited, and she actually got pregnant, and we decided.
Now, were you a first time father on this one?
Yes, that'll be my first kid.
Yeah, what was that news like?
It was a trip. She had told me previously that she couldn't get pregnant, so it was just total shocker. You know, I guess her being back in prison, she was healthy again, and like something happened where she was able to again for some miraculous meaning, and which is the godsend. He's amazing. So.
Unbelievable, Craig. Congratulations. You have a daughter now?
Oh, he's
son.
His name's Harley, and he's 2.5. His birthday's on March 31st, 2020.
Oh, well, congratulations. And a toddler, terrible two-step in there.
Yeah. So she got out of prison, and we decided to get sober for him and for us, and we went to Placerville to live on a weed farm. And
you said a weed farm?
Yeah, a pot farm.
So you lived there?
Yeah, we went to go live and work there over in Placerville. It was a pretty cool experience.
Did you live like on the property? Was it separate from there? I've never dealt with.
So it was in Placerville, like way out in the boonies, and there was a couple 3 or 4 hoop houses and like some full seasons in the backyard, and we lived in a big like 15-person tent on the property. It was a pretty cool experience.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
now you said a hoop house?
Yeah, like a greenhouse. Like hoop house is like.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there was we ended up growing like upwards of 300 plants. So it's pretty intense.
It was pretty intense. I don't think I've met people that talked about it, wanted to do it, had plans to do it, never actually somebody that's done it. You're my first. Yeah.
And that was a cool feeling. It kind of got me back to my roots before I got into heavy drugs, and it was a good feeling just to be out in nature and get that natural high, like just being part of the universe, you know.
I understand that feeling. I lived in the desert, Mojave Desert, for 5 years. It was every winter, so it is very nice to be out there. I don't know how well you could see the stars. That was my thing, was campfire and stars. I'm pretty sure your thing was definitely wilderness related.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's incredible. It's an incredible feeling.
I've always loved hiking and snowboarding, just being in the backcountry on a good powder day, you know, just you in the snow and the trees. It's a magical place.
Is that your favorite thing to do, snowboard?
Most definitely. You know, I can't think of another time where I'm happier than that.
Incredible. So what brought you here?
So we ended up leaving the wheat farm, and that's a whole long story. I won't get into that, but we ended up leaving the wheat farm and moving back to Carson, Reno area with her family. And we had just gotten sober together, and we had only previously like known each other high, so it's a pretty toxic situation, and we tried our best to make it work, but ended up like breaking up and getting back together and trying to make it work like 5 or 6 times throughout the next like 1.5 years while my son was growing up. And thankfully I got to spend, there was never too long when I was gone, you know. It was like a back and forth of us trying to make it work, and it just not really knowing each other because we had only known each other high before.
So you never really got to know each other, really?
Yeah, so...
Because we're not really ourselves when we're...
No, definitely not.
So,
let's see. Christmas of last year, so Christmas 2021, it was just enough is enough, you know, like we can't keep getting back together and just being toxic. It's not good for anybody, you know. We were better off raising our son apart. So I ended up getting into the program that we are in now in January, and right after I got in here, I'd say a month after I was in here, I got a call that she had OD'd in her house, and her 16-year-old daughter was giving her resuscitation, and thankfully my son wasn't there. He was with a grandmother, but so that was all back. CPS got involved, and she had her kids taken from her. And
so your son and her older daughter.
Yes,
so she has 2 kids.
My son and her older daughter, and that was really hard on everybody, you know. And it's like from that moment, thankfully, my mother stepped up and said, you know, I'm gonna take care of Harley. And the older sister, she is living with my son's mother's sister, so her aunt. So it kind of worked out in that aspect, but it was still just really hard for her. I mean, you can imagine how you know.
I couldn't imagine. And
Yeah.
Respect to your mom for taking up the mantle on that one. That's a huge deal. That's incredible. Anybody that can take up and rear a child is nothing but kudos in my book, and especially to help you out.
Yeah, I
so that you can get well and then be a part of that, which is
Totally.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah, she's an angel. She's really been there for me in like ways that I couldn't even ask for. Just stood by me, you know. And she's kind of let me, like, she's always been there, like, kind of guiding me a little bit, but she's let me make my own mistakes, and I think that's helped me grow and just helped me respect her as my mother, as a you know, mother figure. So
Have you two been close?
we have, yeah.
That's incredible. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank
Yep.
you. So going on throughout the year, and she's trying to get her shit together, and she's trying all these things. Like, she tried to go back and stay on a weed farm again, and she was trying to do outpatient and therapy when all that didn't work out. And I had gotten a really good job that I enjoyed a lot. I was working at Renown in surgery, and it was like a super cool experience.
In surgery?
Yeah. I was just a surgical assistant, so it's nothing like that takes schooling, but I got to do a lot of cool things, like be in the room while surgery's going on, like learning about anesthesia machines, and like wearing the full hazmat suit and helping like hold limbs in surgery, and it was really, really enjoyable. It was an interesting experience.
So you were in the thick of the medical field.
Yeah, it was like, I never expected it to be like that. It's like, you see all these medical shows and stuff, it's totally different.
I would probably get nauseated. Some people have the stomach for it.
Yeah.
Not I. No. So kudos to you for that. To even be able to stare at something like that and like actually be paying attention. With me, I saw childbirth and almost passed out. I have no stomach for it whatsoever.
Yeah, it's
So. But it's somebody's knack. It's their forte. It's what they enjoy doing, and you seem like you love doing it.
Yeah.
Now, is it something that you plan to do in the future?
You know, that's kind of where I'm coming to a dilemma this time around. You know, it's like I've had all these dreams and different things that I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to be an underwater welder. I wanted to grow weed professionally. I wanted to join the Coast Guard. You know, so this time around, like, after having worked at the hospital, it's like not necessarily my niche. Although it was an amazing experience, I don't know if that's what I'm going to go with. Like, right now, my tentative plan is to get back into welding. I had taken a welding training course when I was younger, and due to drugs was never able to finish it. And I think getting back in that field and being able to accomplish that I think it will help me just have a sense of fulfillment and have that purpose, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good that you have not just one avenue, you have many avenues to try just in case, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, heard a Denzel Washington speech when I first got here, says never fall back, always fall forward, and I think that's what you seem like you're trying to do, which I think in my eyes is very positive. You got a dream, you go for it. Absolutely.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. So how's being here, how has that been for you? Like, how's your experience in this house of God knows how many people been?
It's been crazy, man. This is like the most amount of people in rehab I've been in, and it's different. It's got a different vibe to it, you know. Most programs are just like classes all day, and then some of them, like, that's it, and you're out in the world. Or some of them, they'll do classes all day and let you get a job. But this program seems to really, like, we have the classes aspect, but there's a big focus on making connections and finding that new way of life, like finding that inner purpose that drives you to stay sober, and, you know, that support network, the toolbox that you always hear about in the NA meetings.
And they do talk about it, yeah. The toolbox and community is a big word here too.
Yeah.
They definitely don't want anybody to suffer in silence, and classes that we learn about, and we all experience that together. You know.
Yeah. That's hard. It's so hard to do for some people. I know. I don't know about you, but I isolated a lot when I was using and just cut myself off from the world.
Yeah. I was very isolated as a drinker. I was a closet drunk. I definitely drank completely solo. I didn't like to be around other people when I was drinking. If so, then it was usually a bad thing. It would usually end up in an argument or altercation of some kind.
Yeah.
Yep. So your experience in the house has been, have you met, would you say, trustworthy people that you intend on talking to after you leave this place?
I'd have to say I have. There's a plethora of people here. There's a diverse group that we have.
Very diverse.
And I think that really having that drive to stay sober and knowing what I need to make connections. Like, I'm sure you've heard opposite of addiction is connection. You know?
I haven't, but I just learned something.
Yeah, it's actually a really good podcast. I forget who it's from, but I'll have to show it to you sometime. But anyways, yeah, I have to say that there are people here that I would reach out to and am going to continue to build friendships with, you know.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That matters. I myself have a couple that I definitely intend on staying in touch with. And,
Oh, yeah.
and of course, there's these memories of these podcasts that keep me going too.
Yeah, it's really cool when I found out you were doing it. I thought it was something that I've never seen anybody do, so that's awesome.
Definitely happy to have you on. Well, so plans for the future, plans for the past, plans for the present.
Plans for the past.
Well, definitely not to repeat it. I would call that
Yeah,
a plan.
definitely. I feel it.
Yeah.
I did skip one big thing I got. So when I was working at the hospital, I had my son's mother. She, like I was saying before, she couldn't get together. She tried all these different things, and she ended up taking her life. You know, this addiction got her, and she was just so miserable that she ended her life and she hung herself.
Very sorry to hear that.
So that's been hard, and I really feel that I really feel that. Oh man, the pressure's on, man. You know, like I'm all my son's got. You know, I mean, he's got my mom, but he's. You know, we have a really close relationship. He's all like we're really tight, and I want to be there for him. You know, he needs me, and he needs me now more than ever. And I'm not only gonna stay sober for myself, but I'm gonna be a good father. You know, I'm gonna be that person he can look up to and be there for him when he needs. You know. So I got that going on in the future. I'm gonna be a good father, and I'm gonna go to any length to stay sober. You know, I've had so many chances, and I'm so tired of going through the same spiral. It's totally talk about demoralizing and just relationship shattering and devastating in every way. But I think my future is pretty bright, man. I've got a lot of internal energy and drive to do the right thing and get a job that's going to make me happy and make those connections and get everything I can from this program, because I'm here for a reason. You know, I think we all are.
Absolutely. And I see you definitely trying all the time. That I've seen you in the house. We've run across each other. We've talked, and you know, I know that you've got what it takes. It may take all you got, but you definitely have all that it takes to get through this. And I think you're gonna do it. I think you're gonna be fine. You've got great reasons.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And yeah, you seem like a good soul to me there, Andrew.
You too.
And I'm absolutely gonna be wishing you the best, man. And I think you're gonna do great. I think you're gonna give your boy just a great life. You know, be the family man. I know it's a weird word to say in here. It really is. It makes us feel so old. But yeah, I'm a family man too. That's where I'm stuck at. Yep. You know, yep. I got daughters, and when it comes to them, I got two choices. I can either negotiate or lose. And then you'll figure that out when he gets to be about a teenager.
Yeah,
so.
I got to witness you kind of dealing with that the other day.
It's a never-ending losing battle uphill. But no, I wish you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me on.
Yep. And so, in summation, what would you say would be your greatest Christmas? What would be just the greatest Christmas ever?
The greatest Christmas.
Yep, just one thing. You could tell me anything from finding like a leprechaun with gold to 1,000 hookers landing on you. It don't matter.
Helicopter skiing with my son when he gets old enough to ski.
You gotta teach him how to snowboard. Got to. It's too passionate.
Yeah, snowboard and ski. I do both, so.
Alright, everybody, that was Andrew. And you've been listening to Rehab Talk Radio. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, this is Kovac. Take care.